That's right, folks. Another episode of the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast. It's Sunday, and that means we have 2 hours straight of start sit questions. Answer all your lineup questions. And by the way, folks, it's December. The weather's bad. You got the Jets, Texans. You have the Ravens game against the Rams. Should you be sitting your stars in those matchups? All this and more on the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast, starting right now. All right, bringing in my first co-host today. It's Matthew Styles. You can follow him at Styles08 on Twitter. What's going on, Matt?
Morning, Bob. Just living the high life here in Tampa on a week / half work, half vacation with my daughters. They have told me to hurry up. I don't know that they understand time. It's 2 hours is 2 hours, whether I hurry up or not. So that's for me as a father to get through to them. But a little bit of sadness, right? If we had a bottle, we'd pour it out. No Sky today. No Derek. Right.
Okay, that's
so
awkward.
we don't have a regular host and we don't have the straight man. So
well, listen, this is awkward because we're cheating on this week. All right. We didn't just come to decide to do a 1-2. We have two new hosts today's show. I'm super excited to bring these guys in, both current writers for us right now. I'm pretty excited. First one I'm bringing in is Jeff. You can follow him. By the way, Jeff, rookie mistake, my friend. You got to have the handle on the screen. Come on, dude, you know?
Rookie mistake.
It's Jefferson _23, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Look at me, huh? Look, I know things. I like this. It's good. Jefferson, by the way, one of our new writers. If you haven't been on football.razzball.com and check out his takeaways, this kid wrote up so many takeaways the first time. I had to actually ask him to dial it back. I was like, you're doing too good. I need you just to level off a little bit. It was awesome.
It makes everybody else look bad.
Yeah, exactly. My articles are like 1/8 the size. I'm like, all right, dude, we get it. You're awesome. But yeah, Jeff, go check out his article every single Monday. Now, Jeff, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You had a bunch of takeaways from last week. Is there something that really stands out? What you're looking for? What's your eye on this week based on your takeaways from your article earlier this week?
So heading into this week, there's a lot of tough matchups. So a lot of good teams are against good defenses on paper, and the weather's going to be a factor. The one game that I'm really interested the most in is the Texans and the Jets. I know we don't have Tank Dell anymore. Schultz is coming back. I'm really excited for Nico and see what CJ Stroud can do against a really good defense on the road. I think there'll be a lot of points on the board potentially for the Texans. I know a lot of people are riding the Texans, so this game has a lot of implications for people making the playoffs, I think.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, the weather report doesn't sound good. Let's bring in one of our guys, boots on the ground, TJ Redding. And by the way, if you guys didn't know, the only reason why TJ is on this show today is because he's known me before my time at Razzball, and he has so many of my dark secrets that he blackmailed me to be on the show today. So I just want to let you know, if you need some dark secrets about me, TJ's got them. You can follow him at TJ Redding on Twitter. It's TJ, isn't it TJ_Redding 28? The both of you guys with your Twitter handle today.
It's
just
correct.
T?
It is correct up there.
Just a T. He dropped the J just for the show. I love that. All right, TJ, what's
going
on, man? How you doing?
It's okay to say, Bob, you're absolutely incorrect. Start that way. Get it out on the table. We can talk about how wrong Bob is. It's fun. It's good. It's actually therapeutic for him to understand that he's wrong a lot.
All the time.
Yeah.
So
constantly.
First of all, Matt, no, that's not true. All right. Anyway, let's not start the show with that. But here, TJ, by the way, TJ does our DFS stuff every Friday. Go check it out. He does great work there as well. Now, TJ, you kind of had a little bit of a rant before the show started about Austin Eckler. Do you have some qualms you want to express about that split today?
Well, I don't like Brandon Staley saying that it might be Kelly and Spiller involved. It's bad enough if it's going to be Kelly with his 12 carries for 18 yards every week.
Nice.
But Eckler does historically play well against the Broncos. He went to high school and college in Colorado, so he usually likes to circle that one on his calendar.
I love this.
Hey, listen. I'm very torn on whether to play him or not.
By the way, I got to tell you, right off the bat, not only has Jeff and TJ both brought more questions than answers, because he goes, I love CJ Stroud and the Texans, and they're playing in the shitty weather. Now TJ's talking about Austin Eckler. and his homage to the Colorado area. I love this. Now we don't know what to do. I love that. We're bringing less answers and more questions today's show. I'm super excited for all of that. All right, Matt, listen, kick us off, man. Let's get to our start sits for this week, and let's have some fun.
All right. So we kind of shouted out Sky, right? The rudder that steers this ship. And first person in this morning, I think you're the boss. I think you should mandate that Sky has to watch this first 7 minutes so that he has to see our buddy Beach.
It doesn't sound the same without him.
Yeah, making fun of the Heisman Award last night, not going to Bo Nixon after Sky had absolutely put every nickel he had on the Bo Nixon train. I'm not sure it was the right decision either. Right? I don't like the Washington Huskies, but Penix had the numbers that it could have probably gone to him. They don't ever give it to a wide receiver, so yeah, I'm not sure that they made the right decision. But I'm here for all of the smack that Beach is handing to Sky. So let's let that one simmer for a minute. Sky will have plenty of time to see it on the screen when he logs in later.
Listen, I've lost all hope for college football when they started a committee that chooses who's in. And right there, you had me. I'm out. Like, imagine if we could just say, hey, Cleveland, sorry, you're starting Joe Flacco. I know you made the playoffs, but we're going to throw in Justin Herbert because he's a better quarterback. Like, can you imagine we did that in the NFL? That's absurd. That being said, it's been a tough couple weeks for Sky. So he probably had to take some time off. Yeah. He lost the Heisman. The Oregon Ducks lose, and they're not in the college playoff because of it. It's been a tough couple weeks. So, Beach, I'm glad you did it when he's not here because this kid it's been rough for him.
All right, Bob, I'm going to let you tell the new guys what's going on here. Boom. 7 minutes in, we've got our first super chat from your old friend Scott. Morning, gents. Morning's back to you, Scott. Full PPR league. Scott needs one wide receiver, one tight end. I will be honest, I've looked at no weather. I've heard what you guys have said about the Texans and Jets, but let's go right into it. D-Hop, Calvin Ridley, or Nico Collins, and then he's got Ferguson or Laporta. That's a real nice problem to have in this league of non-tight ends. So let me turn it over to you, Jeff, real quick for your thoughts on the wide receiver tight end.
So for this one, I'm going to go Nico Collins. I know it's a bad matchup against the Jets, but I do feel like Nico is going to probably get 10 to 11 targets today. I don't like D-Hop on the road. Tennessee doesn't play well on the road. Calvin Ridley, as a Jags fan, love my Jags, but Trevor's ankle, I'm just not trusting it. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. For the tight end, give me Laporta.
TJ, what do we think?
Definitely Laporta at tight end. And then for wide receiver, Denzel Ward might be out. If he's out, I would go Ridley.
Are you at all concerned with the fact that Kirk is out, that coverage can be shadowed onto Ridley? Or you think Zay Jones has done enough to keep Ridley alone on an island maybe?
I think that and Parker Washington showed a little bit last week where they can't just ignore that either.
Yeah, Parker Washington cost me $15,000 in DFS. So if we could not bring that name up again, it'd be too soon. But appreciate. Hey, welcome to the show, TJ. Thanks for the nut kick right off the bat. So that was great. Bob, can we maybe talk offline about not bringing TJ back again?
Oh, dude, don't get me too excited about the TJ slander today. I mean, I'm excited for that.
I really do have a lot of blackmail about Bob too. So if anyone's interested.
He has seen me in too many vulnerable states. So what I meant to say is TJ looks extra handsome today, and that glow of that ominous glow of that window behind you makes you look like Jesus, TJ. I love every second of it. Anyway, not to get too religious, let's get back to the question here.
It is Sunday.
So this is one of those questions where if you look at our slot versus wide metric, they're all in kind of tough matchups, right? So Nico's got the Jets, even Tennessee against Miami. They're a slot funnel defense. The same thing goes for Calvin Ridley. And Denzel Ward should be playing today. He was limited practice all week with the shoulder injury, but it sounds like he'll be active in the game today. And honestly, I'm not touching that. for Ridley. So I'm actually going to go with the rain, folks. I'm going to go Nico Collins. I'm going to take the targets. The Jets defense, when you look at the guys who've played well against the Jets, it's always the studs, the elite guys. They end up getting theirs, and then everybody else doesn't get anything. So I think Nico will be fine in this scenario. And then Laporta's just too good, and Chicago's a good matchup for him. So I'm going to go Laporta and Nico Collins. What do you think, Matt?
I'm going to go Nico because we're nearing the end, right? You start your studs, and I don't know that the Jets have been the same defense as they were to start the year. And I think of the three, Nico right now is trending as the best wide receiver on the list. I will be interested to see how that weather looks. And then I'm going to go Laporta too. I think Ferguson has a really good opportunity to have a good football game because Dallas is not going to not score. They're going to have to score. They want to beat Philadelphia so more than any of us want to win the lottery. I mean, they have to beat Philadelphia. They know going in that it's going to be all talk about Dallas is fading. Dallas can't win the big one. I mean, they're only beating losing record teams. So I love the fact that these two are his options. I'm going with Laporta as well, but I think Ferguson is a fantastic start. So give me Nico and Laporta. And Bob, thank you again to Scott. I'm going to turn it over to you to explain to the other listeners and followers kind of what Scott just did, how it benefits our charity, and how we get a little kickback out of that as well.
Yeah, so basically, guys, we appreciate any donation you make to the show. And what we have done over the last few years is we have partnered with a company called Good Sports. So Good Sports is a charity organization that helps provide sporting equipment to underprivileged communities to help kids play sports. So essentially 10% of any donation you give to us that helps us run the show. We appreciate all the work we put into this. We appreciate you guys throwing it to us. We donate and kick back 10% of that to Good Sports to help these kids get, sporting equipment. So it's a good cause. We appreciate it. It's also December. It's that time of year. So we appreciate any donation you give to us. And we want to always give back. So we give it to a really good cause, a Good Sports. So if you become a super chatter, and on top of that, we will answer your question first. So you don't have to wait in line, wait for your question. So if you're in a rush and you want to get your questions answered right away, you donate and we'll get to your question first.
All right. Thank you very much. Quick note from me. Bob, you decide how to instruct the new gentleman how to handle this. Since I am away from the house, the wife is at home. She's got a shit ton of chores that she's been doing. The pool has been loaded up with leaves. Jeff, you know the weather in San Antonio right now. The winds are like 30 to 40 miles an hour. The trees have all died. All of the leaves are in the pool. She doesn't love me as much as she normally does. She just turned the show on via YouTube, sent me a text that said nut kick, which proves that she's actually listening to the show. So if you guys would be really nice, maybe give Jen a shout out and tell her that we all love her. We're sorry for the leaves and the pool and the mess and the patio and all of that. Maybe it will allow me to fly home on Saturday and actually, have some loving when I get home.
Jen, for every leaf that it remains on that porch, we will give a nut kick to Matt. All right. Don't you worry about it. We got you taken care of. We'll make sure he handles his chores and does the show. No more excuses, Matt. Get it all done. Thank you for letting him be on the show.
Yeah,
today.
thanks for nothing. As always, Bob, I appreciate absolutely nothing that you show. So, hey, back on the rails since we were off for a minute. Beach is back in. He's got a couple of questions. Interesting, right? Cleveland and Indy, we've got a start one. We're going to assume full PPR because he actually chimes in a little bit later. Full PPR. Jeff, you like Jerome Ford or you like Downs, and anything weather or newsworthy you like about these matchups?
For this matchup, for these ones, I think I like Ford. I think Josh Downs is trending down. Last week, Alex Pierre got more targets. Michael Pittman Jr. is getting all the targets from Minshew. So I'm kind of down on Downs, no pun intended. So give me Ford.
Jerome Ford for me too. Downs only had 5 targets last week against Indy or Tennessee rather. Their pass defense isn't great, so if he couldn't do it then, I like Ford better. Weather probably a factor in both of these games too.
Oh man, I don't know if the only thing I've seen today that impacts weather is that Jets game and then the Ravens game. So I don't know if I'm really concerned about the weather piece. I think if it's full PPR, I kind of like Downs a little bit here. But that being said, if it's really close in these situations, I tend to lean touches, and I'm gonna go with Jerome Ford, Cleveland in that matchup too. So I'm gonna go Jerome Ford as well.
Can you believe it, Bob? Second question in, and we have a quad box, not the OG
No, it's not, but I
quad.
like it. It's our
Yeah, so
first.
let's not do the sound effects, right? Sky and Derek be really.
That's right, folks. It's a quad box brought to you by Razzball.
So there's absolutely zero perviness about that music.
It's pretty creepy. I like it.
Yeah, it's a little much. I'm going to go for it as well. I like the volume, and I want to be real honest. I can be petty, right? We've been known to be petty on the show. We've talked Josh Downs up for 2 weeks straight, and he hasn't done what we need him to do. So I'm not a huge fan of what he's bringing for me right now. So I'm going to lean forward. We'll go. All four of us are in on Ford. Next question for Beach. CJ Stroud or Justin Fields? That, to me, this is a really, 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 really interesting question. Bob loves Fields, will always love Fields. Stroud is leading, in my book, probably everybody says, for Rookie of the Year. He's looked great. He's going into a defense that folks think is really tough. So, Jeff, lean forward and tell us where you would go Stroud versus Fields. Full PPR, doesn't matter. But sometimes we like when guys say their quarterbacks are in a full PPR league. It's funny.
Yeah, so in my home league, I'm going against Justin Fields, and I have Nico Collins. But I know I said Nico earlier with CJ Stroud. I like that matchup for them. But in this one, I'm going to go Justin Fields. Unfortunately, I think he's going to do a lot of work in that Lions game. It's going to be probably a high-scoring game.
Justin Fields for me. He was actually one of my favorite DFS plays at quarterback this week. So.
What's the price difference, if you remember offhand, between Fields and Stroud? It's probably only it might even be $1,000.
I think it was around 900. I could double check. I want to say Justin Fields is 68 and Stroud was around 77.
Yeah, I would probably, Bob, I'll turn it over to you, but I'm with TJ on that one. DFS wise, I'd probably go Fields, but we're not necessarily talking full DFS.
I'm going to tell you right now, take it from people who have learned their lesson in the past. Like, this is the time of year where if you're really deciding between these two, you want to fade the guy who's going to be in a monsoon potentially. Like, people are not like TJ was telling us earlier that he has buddies that are not going to the Jets game because it's going to be that shitty of weather. Like, in that scenario, don't torture yourself and start the quarterback in that type of game. Just play Justin Fields. He's played well enough against Detroit overall, and Detroit's defense has kind of been not great over the last month. So I think this is kind of easy. Take Justin Fields. Don't even deal with that weather if you don't have to, and that's why it's easy for me.
Yeah, and you know me. Go ahead, Jeff.
My bad. No, just the Lions, they allow the most rushing yards to quarterbacks this season as well. So
there you go.
There it is. I mean, what are we going to do? New guy comes in with analysis, right? I'm not a big fan of analysis. I'm more of gut and anger and
anger's key.
Right
at the top. Anger is our number one tool for analysis.
we have anger, pettiness, gut feel, and then weather is like way down.
Weather, some stats at the bottom somewhere.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well, and Derek's not here, right? What are we going to do? Derek's not here, so we don't have the pure nerd number factor today. I will say this, Bob, good for you. I'm going Fields as well. I'm a never Fields guy, but I'm going Fields. Bob, my wife said you are full cleared to deliver as many nut kicks as you want. So we're going to stop talking about my wife's and what she's doing at home. Jen, I love you. No more. That's off limits. We're not gonna get into that anymore. Mainly because I'm collecting L's one after the other. I just wanted to give her a shout out, tell her I love her, I miss her, and I'm just losing on top of it. So, Bob, thanks for you and Jen teaming up. I'm assuming you did that over text last night.
Oh, yeah. We're pen pals.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Real super friend. Scott, back in with another donation. Scott, we love you. Thank you very much. A half PPR league, Javante or Gibbs. Good luck this week. I don't know contractually if I can say # Bills Mafia or Buck Army, but I will, and I just did. Good sports. We love it, Scott. Jeff, over to you. What do you think about these two running backs with half-point PPR being the the scoring system.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me at least. Just because the Gibbs Montgomery split is interesting. I know Montgomery scored a touchdown in every game, but Gibbs has been more explosive lately. I'm gonna go Gibbs in this one.
And am I remembering last week's game correctly that Gibbs got shot out of a cannon and tackled at the 1, and Montgomery fell in the end zone for the touchdown?
Yeah.
I like how the terminology there. Gibbs shot out of a cannon, and Montgomery tripped over himself and fell into the end zone. What a douchebag for converting a touchdown. I mean, what a douche. I mean, what is going on here? It makes no sense.
Again, it's about it's anger and pettiness at the top
Sure.
of the chart for me. Yeah,
Love it. Love that for us.
remember? How many times would I have started Justin Fields last year, no matter what he did, Bob? How many? Zero.
Zero. Yeah. Well,
it's stupid. All right, TJ, my bad. I got off the rails. I'm off the rails, Bob. I don't drink coffee, but I feel like I had too much.
the missus
coffee.
is in your head. You're just thinking about leaves right now, so I don't even know if you can focus on football right now. So
what I'm thinking is when I fly home, I'm gonna go key into the house and everything's gonna be gone except like my Vince Lombardi bobblehead because she doesn't like it. That'll be the one thing left in the house.
all right, nice.
But just know, Bob, she's probably headed to San Diego, so get a spare bedroom
Love
ready.
it. Love it.
TJ, again, I'm off the rails. I got to stop. I'm not. I don't even have caffeine in me yet.
I mean, these two are close, but I'll lean Javonte just because Montgomery's going back to Chicago, so he's going to vulture about 5 touchdowns. Give me Javonte against the Chargers' weak run defense.
Yeah, when I'm looking, so the one way Chicago is one of those defenses where you cannot run against them consistently. How you beat them though is through the air with running backs, and that's Jahmyr Gibbs. And I think if you're looking at any type of PPR format this week, I actually like Gibbs a lot. And I know Montgomery's going to score. We know he's going to find the end zone. But the Bears, you don't beat them on the ground. You beat them through the air, and I think Gibbs will get a few catches this week. So I like Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, I like Gibbs more than I like Javonte. And each of the guys has their own points, right? But how many? Gibbs is not going to have a 12 catch day like Kamara did, I don't think, right? Earlier in the season, so that would negate for me most of the PPR value. But Javonte hasn't been great the last 2 weeks. The difference for me is what TJ said. The defense is the difference, and the Chargers cannot stop running backs. So I'm going to lean Javonte. I don't love it because I really want to start Gibbs. I just love what he brings to the table. So I guess we're split on this one, Scott, based on the fact that you donated again.
I'll say this. First of all, if you don't know Buck Army, this goes back to our days prior to Razzball when we used to do our show with our buddy Buck. And Buck was a former Fantasy Focus guy with Ryan and him. So shout out to Buck. Shout out to the Buck Army. Gotta love every second of that. Bills Mafia. Love every second of it. Good. It's a good hashtag. Trust me.
Yep. For Scott, I can see starting either one. I really want to start Gibbs, but I'm going to lean with TJ and probably go volume with Javonte. Again, fun decision. Good problem to have. But yeah, I think as a panel, we're split. But stay tuned. There's a good chance, especially with me, that some other question changes my opinion, or one of the guys says something and I jump back on the Gibbs train. All right. Pat Daddy is dialed back in. Actually, this is coming a little out of order, I think. So let's start here.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Wide receiver, Pittman, London, Puka. We'll get to the Field Stroud thing in a minute. So let's focus on the wide receiver. I'm contractually obligated to read comments and pokes in the eye for all of the members. I don't like doing it for Bob when it's positive, but here it goes. It's going to taste like bile, but Bob, here you go. Thank you, guys. Bobby, your injury breakdowns are super useful, man. And the weather breakdowns, they've helped me win weeks. So I read that with everything I could give you, all the gusto, all the juice, all the smoke. Basically what Pat Daddy is saying is, Bob, you're good at doing the job you signed up to do. So kudos to you, Bob. But yes, we're going to get to Bob's injury report and some weather shit a little bit later. right now, Jeff, over to you. Which one of these? I'm going to assume full PPR. I'm scrolling down to see. Patricia, I think, is full PPR. Let's give me one of those wide receivers. Or put it, you know what? Even more, put them in order where you would start them.
I'll go Pittman first. He's just a target hog. He's just getting all the targets for Indianapolis. I'm not worried about the Bengals defense. I think the passing game for the Jags would have been better Monday night had Trevor not gotten hurt. So that's why I have confidence in Pittman. And the Colts are looking like a playoff team, which is weird to say right now. So give me Pittman. And then second, I'll go Puka. I like him better. I know, Matt, you're a Puka guy. So I'm going Puka 2 and then London 3. I think Atlanta's just going to run the ball. I know it's a bad matchup against Tampa, but I'll just put London third in this order.
TJ, what do we think?
Pittman 1 for me, especially full PPR. There's 10 points to start on catches alone. Give me London at 2 and Puka at 3.
And is there a reason you like London over Puka?
The matchup. Tampa Bay's defense has not been good the last few weeks. They're pretty banged up, and Puka has a tough matchup in Baltimore with potential weather.
All right, so what is that? We're going to get, there's no doubt there's more Puka and Baltimore stuff coming. Bob, do you want to hit that weather now or you want to wait until the injury report?
That's fine. It is what it is, right? It's going to be bad weather, rain in those games. There's not really much from like a wind factor or anything like that. It's just flat out. It's going to be a monsoon. So it's just one of those things where I think if you're asking the question, like, do I start Puka or Pittman or London? Just go the other direction. Unless it's a slam dunk and Puka versus wide receiver 4 that you don't care about, then I think you go the other direction. So I think the weather is going to be a factor this week in those games. But I'm not telling you have to fade Puka and Cooper for anybody. Like, of course, you could start those guys in the right situations. But TJ brought up a good point. You're spotting 10 points in PPR for Pittman and London against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs defense is a 6-scored 70 for their injury on defense. Okay, so the average defense 90 to 92. They're at 7 right now. That's how banged up they are in the back end, especially. So,
and they just ruled Vita Vea out today.
Get out of here, TJ, with your breaking news.
Breaking. Breaking
So
news.
hashtag get Bijan in your DFS lineups. That's all I got to tell you this week.
That's a really long hashtag.
Yeah. Well, what can I say? You know, it is what it is. So yeah. So basically, if you're watching the show, we'll break down the weather report again around 9:00. But it is important to note that these are deciding factors, especially because you're on this show right now because you're probably trying to get into the playoffs or you're trying to get a first round bye.
Playoffs?
Exactly. If you're going to play Puka over these two guys in that weather, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think that the breakdowns are key. I agree exactly with TJ's analysis. So I'm going to go with what TJ said because of that as well.
So we've got Pittman, and Pittman. Nice. So we're going to hit the music, Bob. Let's get freaky.
Oh. Do you want to do freaky stuff? All right, cool. Well, I don't know if Jen's going to like that, but all right. I'm going to do feeding the ducks. I don't know what that means. Ooh. This is the name of this on StreamYard is called Feeding the Ducks. I don't know why. Right now, I don't feel feeding ducks vibes. Maybe StreamYard knows of some type of like Urban Dictionary saying that feeding the ducks means.
Let's not Google that right now.
Not now. Not for the kids. Yeah. The kids are watching.
Okay, so we've got 4 for Pittman. I tend to lean Puka. You know that by now. More about volume for him than throwing the ball for London. So I think that the Falcons and stupid ass Arthur Smith, they're going to run the ball. So I like Bijan over the wide receivers for Atlanta. So give me Pittman along with the other guys. Give me Puka as my second and London as my third. And now, before we get to the quarterback, let's go to his other pass-catching option for old Patricio. Taysom, Likely, or Conklin, Jeff? By the way, one of these guys is probably a no-go because of he's not good at football and the weather's terrible. He's had a couple of decent games, but I'll leave that up to you.
I'm going to go Taysom Hill. I know
Before you finish, he's already been ruled out.
Taysom Hill?
He's out.
Yeah.
Oh, are you serious?
That is a fact. That's why you got to get Alvin Kamara in your DFS lineups because you'll finally get all the goal line work.
Yeah. Well, then. Well, I feel bad for this guy. You got some terrible choices here. Not going to lie. I guess likely because he's starting for Baltimore, but they're going to probably run the ball 40 times this game. So, man, I don't really like Conklin if Wilson is playing. So I just likely, I guess. Best chance for a touchdown.
I'm likely also.
Same. Yeah, I think it's also because if you look at likely, wow, okay, hold on a second, sorry. If you look at the game that he played, his ADOT's so low that he might just rack up 3 or 4 catches because the weather's bad. You dump it off to Isaiah Likely instead of pushing the ball downfield with Lamar. So the matchup's just better, too, against the Rams versus the Houston. I mean, the Texans aren't a good defense for first tight ends either, but I'm going to go Likely, and because of that reason, I think if you're going to throw the ball at all, it's going to probably be short, and that's where Likely does most of his work.
All right. So this is gonna make, don't have any food or drink near you. This is gonna make your stomach turn. So Derek and I are in a couple of leagues. League 1, League 2, we call them. League 1's the one we really, really, really want to win. All of the news is bad. We've been eliminated probably for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks at this point. I'm checking in and putting a lineup in because it's the right thing to do. You don't want to punt. You want to make the other guy play. I just looked. We are playing the dude that is 0-13.
Nice.
Means we cannot be the team that allows this guy to win in week 14. We have Taysom Hill, and we don't have anybody to drop. So it could be Jawan Johnson, right? But he's questionable, but he's probably gonna suit up. Brevin Jordan doesn't work because Schultz is back.
Schultz is out.
Say again?
Schultz is out.
Schultz is out.
Oh, then it's going to be, so I got to drop Taysom Hill for Brevin Jordan and then give Taysom Hill to a playoff team?
The Taysom Hill thing is like, I'm sorry, but like it's like playing Russian roulette.
I'm dropping
Taysom
Pickens because I'm tired of Pickens.
Okay.
And then, by the way,
fine.
Brevin Jordan is playing in a monsoon. So, yeah, that's great news. But maybe
TJ, run outside real quick. Let us know come back, and we'll see how wet you are. We'll decide if we're going to start Jets and Houston Texans players.
Yeah, Bob, you can hold his paycheck, right, until he does
true.
Everything you say. Yeah.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I got enough stories on Bob where he can't really hold anything.
No, he can't. Actually, he gets everything doubled now, so it's fine.
In fact, I'm guessing that if TJ looked over to his right and said, Bob, hold my jock, Bob, you'd have to do it because he's got so much on you. Gross. All right, back again. I'm off the rail. This is crazy. I'm going Likely as well. It would have been Taysom for me, but I'm going Likely. All right, back to Pat Daddy. Also flex for him. David Montgomery, Slim Reaper, Puka, or Lockett. So let's pick one of those flexes for him. We said Puka we liked his number 2, maybe 2A or 2B. Do you change your mind and start one of these other guys over Puka in a flex spot since we benched him in the wide receiver discussion, Jeff?
I'm going to go Montgomery against Chicago, the old team. I do like Devontae this week, but Dallas Goedert is going to be back, and there's always a trend in Philly. One of those two guys goes off, so who knows? And then Goddard did get hurt against Dallas, and he comes back to play Dallas again now. So I feel more confidence about Montgomery than the three of them.
Montgomery for me also. Devontae Smith is, like Jeff said, with Goddard back, it's 50-50 of which one of those will go off. Puka we talked about. Lockett seems to have been kind of passed in the pecking order by JSN, so give me Montgomery.
I got to tell you, TJ is doing a very good Derek impression. Very formal, very direct. I feel like Derek's here. Like you're his spirit animal, TJ. This feels good.
It's a lot of fun.
So, I don't think so here, Jeff brought up a really good point about the correlation. So I actually looked into Devonta Smith's stat because if you look at the Dallas Cowboys at home versus the Eagles, those games are very high scoring. So I was like, all right, what's the odds? Like, what's the deal here? The two games, I got no answer, by the way, for Devonta Smith this week. His one game was 27 fantasy points on the road against the Cowboys. The other game was 4. So if you need a boom guy, it's probably Devonta Smith. If you need the safer play, it's David Montgomery for me.
So does anybody think that Philly's going to try to slow that game down, or are they going to try to get even for San Francisco boat racing them last week?
They have not played well, and they've lost to Dallas a bunch in Dallas. So, and the other thing is they don't want to go on the road. Like
Nope.
if they slip beyond the 1 seed and they have to go travel to Dallas, they're in trouble. And the same thing goes for San Francisco. I mean, they're in trouble either way against San Francisco, but I don't think they can afford to lose this game.
Yeah, and I think that's not only is that what is being said in the locker room, but that's that strange self-inflicted stress that each one of those individual players is feeling right now. Right? They read the paper. They read the paper. Who reads the paper? They read social media. Right? They understand that this is not a game they can lose. I'm going with Tyler Lockett because I haven't all season.
Oh, Gino might be out today. You gonna still play?
So
Tyler
like
Lockett?
I said, I'm going to probably fade Lockett based on the Geno Smith news that I knew about before I signed in.
Yeah.
So I knew that, Bob. That was a quick pre-injury report test. He passed.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah. I love Puka. I don't love the weather. We've talked about this. I'm not a revenge game dude. And Bob said you can't run against the Bears. So give me Devonta Smith in a game that I think is going to be 45-42-ish points. So, Pat Daddy, I don't know that we did shit or Shinola to help you. Jeff, real quick, you went Montgomery. TJ, you went – I blacked out.
Montgomery.
I went
Bob.
Montgomery.
Oh,
So it's David Montgomery.
Or from Montgomery. Yep, that's fine. I'll go Montgomery. We'll just make it easy. And Bob, I'm not going to ask you to play any weird, creepy music for this time. On to the next one. Okay, so this is back to our question. Did we hit Fields versus Stroud and go?
Yeah, we already took. Yeah, Justin Fields. All of us Fields. Next question.
That's what I thought. Good. Okay, I don't like picking Fields. So our old buddy Micah is in this morning. Micah, good to have you. Real quick, good morning, gentlemen. I don't know who he's referring to. I'm guessing it's Jeff and TJ when he uses the term gentleman. It's certainly not our side of the quad box, Bob. In a must-win situation, half PPR means 2 pass catchers. Garrett Wilson, Amari Cooper, who, by the way, just went from questionable to healthy. Tyler Lockett and Rashee Rice. Jeff, pick 2 of these guys. And if you want to, you could list them in order, but 2 for sure.
First one is Rashee Rice. He's getting more targets than Kelsey for KC. Pacheco's out. They're going to have to pass more. It's going to be a high-scoring one, I'm assuming. So Rice 1. I want to say Wilson, but if the weather is going to be shitty like we keep talking about, I don't trust Zach Wilson throwing the ball downfield. Cooper is healthy. The quarterback plays questionable. Tyler Lockett, you know what? Roll the dice. Let's go Rice and Lockett and see what happens.
Did you say quarterback play in Cleveland is questionable?
Are you Joe Flacco is a saint?
Wow.
How dare you?
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Literally,
Jeff,
Amari Cooper was getting hot and heavy watching Joe Flacco throw a football the other week, and you're going to say it's questionable? How dare you?
Bob, mark this down. Timestamp at 38:30 that Jeff has just given his paycheck to TJ.
Mondays are open. Wow. Mondays are open officially.
All right.
Wow. Questionable? That's Joe Flacco. You wash your mouth out.
Stand by what I say.
Derek, over to you.
Where's he at?
We're paying homage to your analytical mind and your deadpan. It's perfect. It's all right. It feels like Derek 2.0 is here. Derek's AI is on the chat.
Well, first I'm definitely putting Rashee Rice in, and then I'd be between Wilson and Cooper. The weather would be the tiebreaker, and don't disrespect Joe Flacco because he's throwing the ball around the yard. Give me Amari Cooper.
Nice, TJ. I agree with everything that just came out of that kid's mouth. Let's do it. Rashee Rice, Amari Cooper.
I'm with the 2 gentlemen as well. Obviously, the gentleman is not Jeff. The three of us are the gentlemen for this question.
Feels good.
Rashee Rice all day. Anytime your receiver can say he has more targets than Travis Kelce and they're in the same offense, yeah, I'm probably leaning that. And by the way, he passes the eye test, right? He's good. They just need to figure out a way to get him the ball in front of the line of scrimmage. So, and I like deep ball Joe to Amari Cooper today, especially with Cooper being cleared fully healthy. All right, now we're going to
we haven't gotten to the injury report yet, but 2 of the 3 starting cornerbacks for the Jags are out today as well.
I changed my mind now.
Love it. Yes.
First of all, Jeff, we should have had you at Joe Flacco. So I don't even know. I don't want you
No.
changing your mind anyway. All right. Don't you worry.
I will. I'm the host today, Jeff. I fully accept your change because I changed to Montgomery about 30 seconds before you changed. So yes, we're all in on Cooper and Rashee Rice for Micah. All right, Micah's back, half PPR. This time it's pick one running back: Ford, Singletary, Achane, and Tyjae Spears. Do we really need to discuss this?
Yeah, I would go with Chain, right? Is that what you're
Yeah,
assuming here?
I think it's got to be the kid in Miami, right?
Does anybody
Achane.
else feel differently?
Nope.
All right.
Now, I'm
Moving.
guessing, TJ, that he is really expensive in DFS. So if you're doing on a DFS side, you can probably save significant money with the other 3. That's my guess. I haven't looked.
Achane.
I'm guessing Achane's in the 6,800 to
Achane's
7,000.
Monday Night Football. He's not on the main slate.
There you go.
Oh, is there 2 Monday night games this
There's
week?
2 Monday night games.
What? And by the way, can we just talk about that for a minute? What is that about? The games start at the same time. Like, why am I missing something? Is that
Yeah,
stupid?
nobody's
Doesn't that seem stupid?
Nobody's going to watch Green Bay, Washington, or Green Bay, New York. It's just
All
not
right.
gonna
Well,
happen.
some people might.
Ooh.
Some
Bob, the Giants
Shots fired.
we couldn't
You know?
be flexed out of Monday Night Football because we share a stadium with the Jets, and the Jets are home today. That's why.
But like, I'm okay with 2 teams playing, but just stagger the time a little. Like, don't make it both at 5:15. Like, what are we talking about here? That's so stupid. Anyway, that's my brand. That's my rant of the day.
No, it's not.
That's
There's
a lie.
one
That's
coming.
a lie. That's a lie. There's more. There's more coming. Yeah. There's more.
All right, so we're all going Achane. Achane it is. The Smitty, not the Smitty, right? Big difference. The Smitty. Pick 2, CEH, Cooper Kupp, and Cortland Sutton. We're going to assume, because we don't know, we're going to assume half-point PPR in this. Jeff, over to you. Pick 2 or sit 1, however you want to approach it.
I'll sit Cup in this one. Weather, matchup based. I'm going to go CEH and Sutton.
Can you believe that in week 14, nearing the playoffs, that you would have ever said, I'm going to sit Cooper Kupp?
How does that feel? Do you feel dirty? Like,
For a guy that you probably picked up yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah, and the other guy you probably picked up off of waivers when he was dropped 6 weeks ago. Oh,
Sutton's definitely number 1 for me, too, out of the other 2. And then between CEH and Kupp, just go volume. CEH has said he's going to be the starter. He's going to rotate with McKinnon, so why not? Give me CEH.
Oh, God, what are we doing? What are we doing? Oh, man.
What
Yeah.
a time to be alive.
I feel like I need to take a quick bath, you know. God, I feel like. By the way, if I turn on the TV in about 2 hours and there's no rain in either of these stadiums, I'm gonna go out there and just murder a panda. I don't care. I'll find a panda, dead to me. Anyway, so, and by the way, just kidding. We don't condone murdering of pandas. Or
no
any
panda
animals.
violence.
We are.
Nope.
Tomorrow's show will be dedicated to PETA. We appreciate you. Anyway, we don't have a show on Monday, so that just sounds even more insincere. Anyway, I'm actually gonna go Sutton and Kupp. I just have a feeling like CEH is probably gonna get like 12 carries for 40 yards against Buffalo, and then that'll be it. And then this is what's gonna happen. They're gonna get to the 2-yard line, Everyone's thinking CEH. What he's going to do is throw a quick shovel pass to Travis Kelce, and then there's another dick kick, right, for everybody. So I'll be excited for that. So I'm just going to go with Kupp and Sutton and feel good about that.
I think I'm going to switch to. I'm going to agree with Bob. Actually, I'm going to switch it to. You can't sit Cooper Kupp with the playoffs on the line. This comes down to the start your studs thing. You don't want to sit Cooper Kupp, and then he goes a vintage 10 for 120 in 2 game, and you miss the playoffs. So give me Kupp and Sutton.
I'm going Kupp and Sutton too, or as well. Jeff, last chance. You said what you said, or are you?
Oh, I'm sticking to it. Yeah, I was never a Cupper this beginning of the year too. I was fading him beginning of the year. So
Okay, so now watch. I need you to watch your mouth. So it's getting a little much. I drafted him 4 in Razzball, 4 overall, and I drafted with my last pick Puka. I have both of them starting in Razzball, which is now week to week. With, by the way, Nico Collins.
nice.
So I'm either going to score 7,000 points or 9.
Nice. Well, I have Sky Moore as my third wide receiver 3, so I score 0 points every week. It's super fun. So
Yikes. Woof.
not great.
I would
Great.
rather have Sky Guasco as my wide receiver 3.
I actually would rather have that as well.
Yeah. All right, Bob, how do we pronounce this? It's Bill Dino, correct? Dino.
That is correct.
As in Reno. Tough ones this week. Who to start with? So I guess he's saying he's starting James Cook. PPR, Montgomery, Pollard, Zach Moss, Keaton Mitchell. And then who do I flex, one of the other running backs or Olave? I'll hang up and listen. Classic radio comment. Now, you guys decide, but if you don't want to start Cook and want to start 2 of the other dudes, like replace Cook with one and then give a second and then decide to flex, feel free. Because I don't know that James Cook is a must start for Bill Dino. All right, soak it all in. This is there's a lot going on here.
Wow.
I'm going Monty, Pollard, Moss. End of discussion for me.
I'm with you on that one.
I'm going Monty, Moss, and Keaton Mitchell, rookie out of the bye. That's usually when they get more integrated. If the weather is bad there, the Ravens are going to run. Give me Keaton Mitchell to bust one.
That was Monty, Moss, Mitchell for you?
Yep.
Okay. Bob, you've had 30 minutes to decide.
No, I'm just excited to watch James Cook have like 10 carries for 50 yards, and that's it. So
That's better than Josh Kelly 10 for 18 or 12 for 18, right?
12 for 8. I can't wait though. And Austin Eckler not getting the full workload for that. This is gonna be sweet.
Spiller. You know what's exciting for me is Jeff and TJ are probably going to use the group text you created, and when stuff like that happens, when Josh Kelly starts the game and goes 1 for -8, it's just going to be TJ all over the text thread. I fucking told you, this is the guy. This is what he does. And then we have to see in 11 carries, can Josh Kelly get 26 yards to hit the 18?
You know what? I unfortunately, so Cook, Moss, and Mitchell were all as starts for me this week. I like their matchups a lot. But when you're looking at Monty, he scores a touchdown every freaking game. It's like I'm not going to sit him. So I'm going to go Monty, Pollard, and Olave.
So no Moss, no Mitchell, no Cook for you.
Unfortunately. Yeah, the Pollard thing is more of the Cowboys have scored 37 points or more in 4 straight home games versus the freaking Eagles. And granted, that recipe could just mean that Dak Prescott scores all the points, but it's just like in that kind of volume, I'm just going to take like Moss should be good, but like after, and I think last week's game kind of makes me a little worried that maybe the early season magic is not there. So I might not be as excited to start him, but like, listen, I think these are all good options. So that's good.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to go with the best players, probably in the best games, and just go with those guys.
Yep, mark it down right now. I already said Monty, Pollard, and Moss. Mark it down right now. What Moss should have done last week, he will do this week.
Yeah, agreed.
What everybody started him to do last week, he's going to do it this week. And I'm okay. And I'm okay being right.
Nice.
Yeah. Cody Davis, is this a first time, long time, or first time, short time? You recognize the name, Bob?
I do not. I do not.
I don't either. Apologies, Cody, if you've logged in before, but if not, welcome for the first time. Pick two. This is a little sensitive for some of us. Sky's not here to shit on your Josh Jacobs parade, so this will be an actual. You'll get 4 real answers. Pick two, full PPR. Cup, Karen Williams, Josh Jacobs, Jahmyr Gibbs. Jeff?
Being full PPR kind of changes my mind slightly, but I feel like you have to start Kyron Williams. And I'm stuck between Jacobs or Gibbs. I do like Cup. I just don't like the matchup. But
Jacobs home against Minnesota.
I know. Yeah, and since the coaching change, I think he's getting almost 20 carries a game. So I'm going to go Jacobs.
So to repeat, that's Williams and Jacobs for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kyron Williams is definitely in for me, and I was kind of debating the same thing between Jacobs and Gibbs. But the last game we saw with the Vikings against the Bears, Roschon Johnson did do well through the air, so a couple Jacobs catching in full PPR with the pure volume he's going to get. Give me Jacobs.
Williams and Gibbs for me.
Ooh.
I'm going to go with the two younger fellas. I'm going to go with Williams and Jacobs. I absolutely hate that I'm not starting Cooper Kupp in this question. And in fact, to be fully transparent and fully honest, I would probably start Kupp in my lineups, but my advice is more about actual fantasy football than my team. So I think Kyron and Jacobs volume plus catches is the way to go. I still don't know that I'm going to ever sit Kupp, but I think that the two running backs are the way to go, and more volume for those two over Gibbs, which is why I lean Gibbs. All right, so we already got to Patricio's question about the quarterback. Siobhan 1107. This is another new name, Bob, or is this somebody back from your old podcast days?
Nope, it's brand new, fresh.
Siobhan, welcome to the show. Pick two, 10-man full PPR. Look, by the way, first time in, league setup, scoring right out of the gate.
Love it.
Following the rules, giving us what we need to make a good recommendation. Pick two, Monty, Chuba. I'm guessing Rachaad White, Keaton Mitchell. And the reason I'm leaning Rachaad White because it's all running backs here.
Mm-hmm.
Must win, please, today. He needs help. He or she needs help. Monty, Chuba, Rachaad White, Keaton Mitchell. Jeff, your call.
So I just want to start with, why are people questioning David Montgomery? I feel like his name keeps coming up. Do people just not trust the running back? I mean, it's just his touchdowns every game. Like, I feel like he's a start and forget for me. I know, but he gets the carries and he scores touchdowns. Like, I don't know what else you want in a running back as an RB2. Anyways, I digress. Fun fact, Rachaad White is going against Atlanta. They have yet to allow a rushing touchdown to a running back this season, the only team. So, but Rachaad White has been a stud all year. It'd be hard to sit him right now. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with the volume and White and Montgomery.
Yeah, I'm going Montgomery and Rachaad White. I can't sit Rachaad White if I need to win to make the playoffs. He's been RB1 the last month, so especially full PPR because that's where he does most of his damage anyways in the passing game.
And that's inside, right? That's in Atlanta, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to say Monty and White as well, but I just want to throw a shout out to Chuba Hubbard. He's now the guy. He had 25 carries last week, looked very good, scored twice. The New Orleans defense is extremely banged up, so that could be a factor in this question too. But I think you just can't sit. Monty just finds the end zone every freaking week. So it's just like I know the matchup isn't ideal for David Montgomery against Chicago, but Jared Goff and company will move the ball enough to get them in scoring position, and he'll find his way into the end zone. So just take the safe bet. Monty White, set it, forget it. You're good to go.
That's 4 of us, and I will say that I think that this might be a little bit more of a Gus Edwards game with that weather than it will Keaton Mitchell. I think that Keaton can break one, but that's going to be a nasty field. So I'm with Monty and White as well. Bob, we've got about 3 minutes before we're going to break over to you for injury, and I think you're going to maybe slide in some weather info. Is that right?
No, not going to do any of that. Sorry.
Cool. Excellent. So let's move on. If somebody could log that in real quick with HR, I know they're on the line. If you just let them know how Bob has been treating the 3 of us, that would be appreciated. But before you do any of that, just know that Bob is HR as well. So
yeah, I complain to myself about things. It's great.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Bob,
the gate to HR is literally Bob, and it's normally closed.
Sorry.
He has a full closed door policy, which is really nice. I don't remember seeing that in leadership books, but maybe I just didn't see that chapter, or it didn't resonate with me. So, right, Bob, full closed door policy.
Listen, all I got to tell you is pull up your bootstraps, boys. All right, HR ain't coming to save you. Let's get it done today.
Yeah. Thick skin university. That's where we're at.
Amen.
All right, Jets fan. I didn't know we allowed those folks on the show, but we take all comers, so we'll let it slide. Jets fan wants 1 point PPR super flex league. Pick 2 players. Only one of them can be a quarterback. Considering sitting both Geno and Carr, so pick 2 from Geno, Carr, Puka, Garrett Wilson, DeAndre Swift, and Breece Hall. Pick 2. Only one of them can be a quarterback. Jeff, over to you. This ought to be really stupid and fun. Pick 2. This is going to be ridiculous. And by the way, is Derek Carr starting?
He's in. He's active.
He's in, yeah.
All right.
So I'm going to go Carr and then DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre Swift fully cleared, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Even though
he just took a hard shot in that last play, so I don't think it was a serious injury. He just got his bell rung, so I think he's all right.
That's what I think. Either wind knocked out of him, bell rung something. And he was never in concussion protocol. Is that right?
Nope. Yeah, never was.
He just got hit by a car. Is all that happened.
Yeah, got rocked.
His feet. His feet was over his head. He got hit so hard. I was like, okay, here we go.
Hey, remember the fun chatter about my Razzball lineup? Yeah, he's my starting running back too. So, like I said, 7,000 points or 9 this week for me. I'll either go out in a blaze of shit or I'll move on to next week. And by the way, throw in there my second running back is Raheem Mostert. So yeah, it's going to be real fun. That's why I'm actually going to go out with my daughters and not watch football today because it's just going to be miserable.
Nice.
So, and they've demanded food. So that's what kids do. Well, they're not really kids anymore, but you get it.
Oh,
I digress.
Breaking news: Matt needs to feed his children.
while not at home, right?
Honestly. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got Carr and DeAndre Swift from Jeff.
Yep.
I don't really like either quarterback, but if you were going to start Geno and he was inactive, you could substitute DeAndre Swift in because he plays Sunday night. But for me, I'm going Breece Hall and DeAndre Swift. The Eagles said they want to run the ball more after getting wrecked by the 49ers. So I don't know. Give me Swift and Breece.
So I think that I think the Taysom Hill thing is actually a slight bump up for Derek Carr. So Hill being out will allow Carr to be on the field pretty much 100%. They're not going to bring in a Jameis Winston package, So I think we're good there. I think that helps him a little.
If you need an interception, you put that Jameis Winston package in, though.
Oh, dude, nothing gets me going. Jameis Winston. When I see him, nothing turns me on more than Jameis Winston playing football. Like, it's gonna be fun. Like,
he never met a throw he doesn't like or he won't take.
I love it, baby. It just, man. All right, now I'm getting hot flashes. All right, let's keep it going. Let's keep it moving here, folks. All right, there's kids on watching.
So, Bob, I think you mentioned it last week. Carr's playing at home against Carolina. Yep. Didn't you mention that Carolina had a couple of DBs coming back and that they would actually been playing well against the pass? Remind me what you mentioned last week.
Well, so yeah, J.C. Horn came back last week. He's healthy. He's back in the lab. He's like their stud. He's like their best guy. They have Dante Jackson on the other side too, and Troy Hill is like a decent slot guy. The problem is we've talked about this with the Panthers defense specifically. They're so bad against the run, and their offense is so bad. It just doesn't. Teams don't need to throw much. Like if you look at their DVOA metrics, teams have success. Like top receivers play well against the Panthers, but they're still very bad. I mean, these guys are still coming back from injury. CJ Henderson's been in and out of the lineup too. Their fourth cornerback. So they're both safeties. Von Bell have been in and out too. So their 6 score has been pretty low, but trending in the right direction. That being said, it's a super flex, and quarterbacks in a bad quarterback gets you 15 fantasy points. That's a great game for most running backs and receivers. So that's why I always lean quarterback in these questions. Geno Smith is banged up. San Francisco is just white hot right now. I'm not messing with San Francisco. So I actually am going to pivot. I'm going to go with what Jeff said. My gut tells me that the DeAndre Swift is going to have to be heavily involved in this game, kind of similar to what we saw with Zach Cabernet, whatever. He had the terrible game against the 49ers. The next game he gets back against the Dallas Cowboys. He finds the end zone. He catches a long pass. So I think Swift's involved enough to justify that. So I'm going to go Swift and Derek Carr.
Yep, I'm Swift and Derek Carr. Like I said last week, Derek Carr gave you 335 and no touchdowns. So however many that adds up to in your PPR scoring or your Superflex scoring. All right, Bob, are you ready? You want me to take 2 more, or you want to get on?
Do one more question, and then I'm uploading some stuff right now.
All right, GR, probably Green Bay Rooter. I'm guessing that's what that's for, the initials. Clearly, the colors lean towards being a Green Bay person, but most likely not. All right, boys, half PPR, pick 3. Only 2 of them can be running backs. Madison, Chuba, Ford, Amari Cooper, Puka, and Laporta. So he's got Kelsey in the tight end slot. Need 3 of Laporta, Puka, Cooper, Ford, Chuba, Madison. Sounds like a boy band of some sort. Pick 3. Only 2 of them can be running backs, Jeff. Hopefully you've ingested all of those names.
I did. So I think Chuba. I'm going to pick Chuba as one of the running backs for sure, just on volume. I know the Saints are decent, but he's going to get the volume. I'm going against Madison in my home league, which I don't want to pick him, but I think he's going to have the better game matchup. So I'm going to go Chuba and Madison. And then the next one, I'm going to go Laporta.
It doesn't have to be 2 running backs. It just can't be more than 2 running backs.
Yeah, okay. It's just the Rams receivers. I've been riding Puka all year, but just the matchup. And I think I'm going to go with Madison, Chuba, and Laporta.
All right, TJ.
I'm going to go Chuba, Amari Cooper, and Sam Laporta here, I think.
Can you imagine having the problem of Laporta and Kelsey in a one tight end league? That's ridiculous.
Should have traded one of them.
Yeah, and I don't know if people – I tried to trade for Laporta. Derek and I did, I think, 3, maybe 4, 5 times. And
dude,
we were offering names like Jalen Warren, Dante Foreman when he was killing it. And we couldn't even get a sniff in a trade back. I didn't understand it. But and that was a guy that had a stud. Well, Laporta's a stud, but had a big name Andrews, Kelsey type at tight end. Just never worked out.
Yeah,
so
if I had both, I would have tried to sell Kelsey, I think, if I was in that situation.
Yeah, the bigger name, you go get a stud receiver or big time. Like somebody like Pollard would have probably been accepted, and it might have turned out because they both were pretty shitty during the last stretch. And I think Pollard's going to have more value down the stretch because you need running backs. You got to usually start 2. All right, Bob. So we're doing here half PPR, pick 3. Only 2 of them can be running backs. We've already got in the books. We've got a Madison, a Chuba, and a Laporta, and we have a Chuba, Cooper, and Laporta in the books.
Ooh, the Chuba, Cooper, Laporta seems pretty sexy. The double tight end start. Yeah, I got to tell you, trading is not easy. For some reason, people I was at one point in one league, I was like, listen, dude, look at my roster. Tell me what you want. You don't have a tight end. I had Dalton Kincaid and TJ Hawkinson. I'm like, do you want Hawkinson? I'll give you Kincaid. Who do you want? And he's like, yeah, I think I'll just stream. And he got 0 points from Hunter Henry the next week. And I'm like, hey, just checking in, make sure you're good, making sure you're good. And he's like, I think I'll pick up a guy next week. And that guy got him like 4 points. And I'm like, oh, I can't. You can't force the horse to drink. All right. You can lead him to the water, whatever that saying is. Anyway.
Yeah, perfect. Nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it. All right. I'm going to go Chuba, Amari Cooper, and Sam Laporta.
I'm going to go Chuba, Laporta for sure. I really want it to be Ford, but I think it's going to be Cooper. Joe Flacco, his arm can handle 60 passes a week. He's not even lathered up at that point, right? Dude. 60 is just, hey, I'm here, right? I'm getting paid $400,000 to chuck the rock. So,
dude,
yeah, I like
the best
Chuba.
part is the Jets had him. The Jets are like, the Jets could be starting Joe Flacco right now. It's wild. It's a wild day. Yeah. I love it.
All right, Patricio, we're going to get to you real quick. Jamie, we love when you check in. Good morning to you. We're going to turn this thing over to Bob. Boys, take your water, coffee, soda, vape.
Wait, before you guys go, before everybody goes, we got one more super chatter. Mateo, bring it in. We love you, buddy. We're going to get you in before we start that. We appreciate your donation, man. We love every second of that. And make sure everybody knows that we do donate 10% of all proceeds to good sports. It's the holiday season, folks. Season for giving. And let's get it done. All right, we got Rachaad White, Joe Mixon question. Now, Jeff, I'll throw it to you first. I guess the question is, are you feeling the Browning experiment in Cincinnati? Do you think the Cincinnati offense is back? Or are you going to go Rachaad White? Assume half PPR.
I'm going to give a shout out to Mateo for the donation, but I'm going to go White. He's just a better player, I think, right now. I do think the Bengals are intriguing, actually. Browning kind of showed. He's got some moxie. Bengals may not be down and out. They could play spoiler down the stretch.
First moxie mention, Bob, mark down. We have one moxie mention.
Yeah. But White for me.
This kills me because I feel like Joe Mixon, when you think he's going to do well, he lets you down. But Derrick Henry did just have 100 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Colts last week. Mixon had 2 touchdowns against the Jaguars. If I just go based on matchup, I'm going to go Mixon. But I think all things considered, give me Mixon.
I would love to see the rest of your roster. This isn't any type of like – so I have it's not actually projections, but I've tried to put together something based on all the stuff I have. Both these guys are top 12 options this week in there. I have Mixon slightly higher than Rachaad White because of that Colts matchup. But that being said, the Atlanta front 7 is extremely banged up. They're missing multiple guys. 2 of their best front 7 guys are out this week. I just think it's a Rachaad White week. So I think that, and by the way, Jeff, you brought up a really good point earlier. You said the Atlanta Falcons haven't allowed a rushing touchdown yet this season to a running back. It just seems like now it's due. I feel like that was like, you put it out in the universe. So go to your betting apps and bet that Rachaad White anytime touchdown this week. I'm going Rachaad White.
All right. Quick question for the panel. I'm going to go with Rachaad White. Then I'm going to throw you a quick question. Who is the more boring fantasy running back, Jacobs, Mixon, or Montgomery? And don't answer it. They're all boring, right? But you have to start all 3 of them. Like you look at them and you're like, oh, do I really have to start Montgomery and Mixon again? And then you're like, oh, I'm blowing people out of the water every week, but they're not flashy.
You literally just contradicted yourself. You're like, you're so bored, but you have to start him. And you go, I'm going to start Rachaad White over Joe Mixon. But you have to start Joe Mixon every week. It makes no sense. All right, we're done. We're done.
But I'm not going to.
No, you're out. Everybody's out. Everybody get off the screen. I will see you guys in about 10 minutes. Go enjoy yourselves. Go have a drink. Go relax. All right, we're going to do our injury updates. We're breaking it down right now. We're going to break down weather updates, injury updates, everything you need for week 14 to help you win your fantasy league, folks. So we're super excited. There's a lot to cover. Let's get right into it, folks. All right. So starting at the top today, obviously we know some of the bigger names that are out this week. Of course, we have the Tank Dell injury, which is big news for the Nico Collins owner. I wrote up in my article earlier this week that Nico Collins is still a solid play. We do know that the weather in New Jersey is not good. So if you have Nico Collins questions, we do suggest you bring them. Nico is still probably a wide receiver 3 in a tough matchup in the bad weather because Dalton Schultz is out as well. Brevin Jordan is still a streamer option. The Jets are a little more vulnerable to tight ends versus wide receivers. So if you do need a desperation tight end dart throw this week, Brevin Jordan is not a terrible option as well. The Warriors, I just want to bring this up. Breece Hall is active today, but he's not 100% playing in that monsoon game in the versus the Texans. Just be aware of that. If you have a Breece Hall kind of question, maybe you bring it to the panel. We'll talk through it because Breece Hall is not 100% playing in bad weather. That could be something to watch. Let's jump into the Rams and Ravens. Another game playing in bad weather today. The Ravens and that game has a lot of rain, pretty much downfall throughout the whole entire game. Tyler Higbee has been ruled out. I do think there really isn't a notable backup for the Rams, so that should funnel more targets to Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, etc., Puka Nacua. But that game is bad weather as well, so those guys are going to be tough to trust in that matchup against a very good Ravens defense. Mark Andrews, we all know, has been out for the last couple of weeks. That means Isaiah Likely obviously will be the guy that you would want to start in this game. The Rams are susceptible to tight ends, so if you do need an option, he does have a pretty low ADOT, so maybe the rain won't impact him as much. Maybe he's just a PPR low-end tight end one. Jumping back over to the Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. Tommy Tremble is actually back in this week, so that is a typo, but Hayden Hurst remains out. We're not really worried about the tight ends versus the Saints, but it's still notable for the other pass catchers since Adam Thielen should get a lot of work this week. I do like his matchup in the slot versus New Orleans. I expect him to have a nice bounce back game, but Hayden Hurst also out, should funnel more targets. One of the best defensive tackles for the Carolina Panthers is out today. That should help Alvin Kamara, but what really should help Alvin Kamara out is that Taysom Hill has been ruled out. That means that Derek Carr will get the full workload in this game. That also should help Alvin Kamara from a DFS standpoint. I have him in my DFS lineup this week. I like that a lot, and Derek Carr should get that full workload. Also, Chris Olave is in. We know Mike Thomas is out. We know Rashid Shaheed is out. So Chris Olave should get the full workload. Derek Carr playing without Taysom Hill, remember, that's going to be more pass volume. So I really like Chris Olave this week and Alvin Kamara, with Derek Carr getting the full allotment of snaps, even though he's slightly banged up as well. On the flip side, though, Marcus May and Lattimore both are now on IR. That back end of that New Orleans defense is extremely banged up. They did get back some of the guys in their front seven this week, but just keep that in mind for future. I do like Adam Thielen a lot in PPR formats because of that injury. Jumping down to the next game, we have the Colts versus the Bengals. Juju Brent's one of the top outside cornerbacks. EJ Speed, one of the top linebackers for the Colts, are out today. That should really help Joe Mixon because of the fact that they also no longer have their stud middle linebacker from a few years ago, and now I'm blanking on his name, but they also are now missing their other top linebacker, EJ Speed. So that should really help Joe Mixon's matchup against the Colts. So if you have Joe Mixon, he's a really rock-solid RB2 this week. On the flip side of the ball, Jonathan Taylor has been ruled out, and Brandon Smith. So that's something notable for Zach Moss owners. Of course, no Taylor means you probably have him as a rock-solid RB2. I actually have him as one of my starts of the week, but bring your starts to questions for Zach Moss. They are missing their right tackle. Cam Taylor-Britt has been ruled out. That's one of the best cornerbacks for the Bengals. He's now on IR as well, so that's good news for Michael Pittman and company. So I really like Michael Pittman. If you can get him in your DFS lineups, he should have a decent game this week against the Bengals. All right, jumping over to the Buccaneers and the Falcons. This one is big time. There's a lot of injuries we got to go through in this one. Devin White, Jamel Dean are both out. Jamel Dean actually lines up mostly across from Chris Olave, but I do expect Charlton Davis to shadow. Forget everything I just said. Not Chris Olave. What I meant to say is Drake London. So I expect Charlton Davis to shadow Drake London today. But at the same time, Charlton Davis has not been the same player this season. So I do like Drake London as a DFS option and a solid wide receiver 2/3 with Jamel Dean out. A couple additional things that are of note. Last week, 3 linebackers were out for the Bucs. Now they get 2 of them back. That should help them a little bit, but still, this front is extremely banged up, especially with Vita Vea out. I think Bijan Robinson is the start of the week for DFS running backs. I love Bijan in this matchup with Vita Vea out, and also no Levante David. So that front is really banged up. That should really help out as well. Jumping over to the other side of the football, these names might not stand out to you because I had no idea who these guys were myself. But when I was going through the Falcons defense, 2 of their best run stuffers are out today. Nate Landman and David Can't even say his last name, but these guys play linebacker and defensive end for the Falcons. That's notable for Rachaad White. I actually have Rachaad White in my DFS line. Bijan, Rachaad White, and Alvin Kamara all in my DFS lineup this week. I like them a lot as well. The Falcons are down Grady Jarrett. So that's really notable for that front. So 3 of the top deep run stuffers for the Falcons are out today. So just keep that in mind when setting your lineups. Rachaad White should smash. I also like Baker Mayfield as a super flex, low-end QB1 in that matchup as well. Jeff Okudah, one of the top outside cornerbacks, is out today too. So that should really help. Maybe, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but maybe they use AJ Terrell to shadow Mike Evans, but I am not sitting Mike Evans. But Jeff Okudah being out should really help Chris Godwin this week if you need a wide receiver 3 in this matchup. Jumping over to the Cleveland Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars, there's no weather update in this game. It looks like the game will be pretty good. Joe Flacco will get the start today. Amari Cooper is in. I like Amari Cooper a lot in this matchup. The key for Amari Cooper is that 2 of the 3 top cornerbacks for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Campbell and Herndon, have been ruled out. So Joe Flacco, maybe Joe Flacco's the DFS play this week. I got to check out his price point on DFS. We'll check that out in a minute. Maybe you buy down to Joe Flacco with 2 of the 3 top cornerbacks out and Trevor Lawrence in. Should help a little bit, because on the flip side of the football, Denzel Ward has been ruled out. That's really big news for Calvin Ridley this week. The Browns defense just got smoked by the Rams. Now, the Browns do play better at home, but no Denzel Ward really shakes things. Help out Trevor Lawrence and company. So that is notable for them. Just something that I would like to add in, because of Trevor Lawrence's left ankle injury, they are down to their 3rd string left tackle, going up against a very good Myles Garrett and company. Just be wary of that. His lack of mobility might be an issue with down to their 3rd left tackle in that matchup. Of course, I just want to bring up Christian Kirk as well. We know he's out for a few weeks. We know Washington played well. I think Zay Jones will get a few more targets as well. If you're looking for that wide receiver 3, the Cleveland Browns secondary with no Denzel Ward got completely crushed out wide by Puka Nacua last week. I think Zay Jones is actually kind of the guy that might be a PPR asset, while Calvin Ridley will be obviously the best play of all of them. But just don't be surprised if Zay Jones gets a few more targets in this matchup with Denzel Ward also out in this matchup. All right, jumping down to the next game, it's Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. Now, Alex Anzalone, star middle linebacker, is back in this week, so that should really help against that running offense. Khalil Herbert, everybody's all systems go. So probably Khalil Herbert's the main guy there. That'll be impacted by Alex Anzalone. Frank Ragnow, center, is out. Alam McNeil, not a very popular name, but he's one of the best defensive tackles for the Lions. So that should definitely help too. That Khalil Herbert situation, if you're looking for a desperation start at running back, Khalil Herbert is not a bad option this week with the kind of injuries dealing with a little bit for that Detroit Lions run defense. All right. Jumping over to the Seahawks and the 49ers game, Kenneth Walker and also Zach Charbonnet are expected to play today. So we all lean Kenneth Walker, of course, but just so everybody knows, Kenneth Walker is still dealing with oblique. Everybody's saying that he might have a reduced workload. So if you're able to pivot away from him, that might be the best course of action, especially with Geno also dealing with an injury. And on top of all of that, the 49ers defense is red hot. Some notable injuries for the 49ers. Spencer Burford, who's one of their guards, is out today. I don't care. I just don't care. Doesn't matter. It's just notable. Arik Armstead, who is one of their better defensive tackles, is out today too. But the 49ers have so much depth up front with Chase Young there now. I'm not sweating it. The 49ers defense should be white hot and really at home playing against the Seahawks. It should not be fun. Shout out to Sky Gawasko. Enjoyed that game. All right, jumping over to the Vikings and Raiders. The only notable injury in this game is Colton Miller, left tackle for the Raiders, is out today. That could impact Josh, who actually is playing against a very tough Vikings run defense. So bring your Josh Jacob questions. He might be a sit this week, but his volume alone should put him in the RB2 map, but bring your questions anyway. Joey Bosa jumping down to the Chargers-Broncos game. The only notable injury is Joey Bosa, who'll be out on IR. Should definitely help Russell Wilson and company, who should be able to light up that Chargers secondary. Now with no pass rush, basically with Joey Bosa out, just keep that in mind. I think Russell Wilson and Cortland Sutton should hook up for a nice day in that matchup. All right, jumping over to the Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs. Some big-time names are out this week, but on the Bills side, Dawson Knox is back in, so that should listen. If you've been riding Dalton Kincaid, I wouldn't sweat it too much. It is something to keep an eye on this week. If you see Dalton Kincaid's matchup production go way down. But I do think Khalil Shakur is the guy who gets impacted the most. Just call it a hunch, but I think that Dalton Schultz is still a start this week. But it might not be a bad idea if you have Dalton Schultz as your tight end one to stash a second tight end for the playoffs, just in case Dawson Knox becomes bigger issue than we all predict. Jumping over to the other side of the football, Isaiah Pacheco is out today. A report came out earlier that CEH and Jerick McKinnon will split the work. Now, if you look at the stats and how you beat Buffalo, you beat them with pass-catching running backs. Me personally, in half and full PPR, I'm going to lead McKinnon this week, but CEH should get at least 12 to 15 touches and is a low-end, maybe flex option if you need it this week. Donovan Smith, left tackle, has been ruled out too. That's impactful for the Chiefs, who have struggled a little bit this season protecting Patrick Mahomes, so losing that left tackle is big time. On the flip side of the football, Nick Bolton, one of their top middle linebackers, is back this week. Perfect timing because Drew Tranquil, their other linebacker, has been ruled out. So Nick Bolton is their main guy, though. That should really help their run defense, who, by the way, has the top matchup this week in our adjusted line yards metric is James Cook. All right, Brian Cook also out, safety for the Kansas City Chiefs. That should really help that Dalton Schultz matchup, as Dalton Kincaid matchup, my apologies, but also the deep passing game should help be out there for Buffalo Bills with the back end a little banged up for the Kansas City Chiefs. Shipping over to the Eagles and Cowboys. A couple guys are basically the Eagles are healthy. They're ready to go. This should be an awesome game. I'm super excited for that Sunday night football game, Eagles Cowboys. The only guy notable that is out is nobody. Dallas Goedert in, Fletcher Cox in, Zach Cunningham in. So they're pretty much at full strength. Dallas Goedert back. That should be a fun one to watch. All right, jumping to the Monday night games, the Packers and the Giants and the Titans and the Dolphins game. We have some come notable. Aaron Jones is back. Christian Watson has been ruled out. One of our starts of the week has been Jaden Reed, the slot cornerback, wide receiver against the Giants. Should have a decent matchup there. Quay Walker has been ruled out too. That should really help Saquon Barkley. How you beat the Packers is on the ground, so maybe Barkley gets a little bump with Quay Walker, the star middle linebacker for the Packers, being ruled out in that game. Evan Neal on the other side of the football, right tackle, has been ruled out. Doesn't really matter. He's garbage anyway. Let's shift out to the Titans-Dolphins. The Titans are dealing with some serious injuries. I mean, wheels up on your Dolphins. I know Jalen Waddle's owner. Shout out to all of you guys who've been dealing with it with me this season. Unfortunately, we have to start him this week. No Jeffrey Simmons, no Christian Fulton, no Jerome Baker. I mean, they have so many key guys. I'm sorry, no Simmons and Fulton. Those guys are for the key guys. Fulton's one of the top outside cornerbacks. That should really impact Jalen Waddle. Jeffrey Simmons is like the poor Aaron Donald. Chris Jones, Jeffrey Simmons is just as dominant. The Titans won't have anybody to stop. Start your Dolphins. Just do it. You'll be fine. The Dolphins are missing a couple guys on defense at the safety position, and also Jalen Phillips, their defensive end, but I'm not sweating that at all either as well. All right. Before we get through all that information, that was a lot. So let's talk some six scores. Just make sure everybody knows the Sports Injury Central. By the way, guys, we partner with Sports Injury Central. SixScore.com helps you bring injury analysis that helps you win your fantasy leagues. If you use the code Razzball for their Injury Edge tool, you'll get 20% off. Check it out. So use that code Razzball for six scores. Here's some notable six scores this week that should impact your fantasy league. So Bucks run D, 64.9. Just for reference, the average defense is about a 90. So 64.9 should really, really help that Falcons run D. Listen, put Bijan in your lineups. You're going to love it. The Bucks D as a whole is a 70.5. So really, if you're starting your Falcons, Drake London, I like this week. I really like Bijan and company as well. Desmond Ridder, I will not do. You cannot force me. Falcons run D is also at 69. So that should really help Rashad White. Saints pass D is extremely banged up at 71.2. Listen, the Carolina Panthers haven't really been great, but Adam Thielen to me is an obvious PPR asset this week. But also Jonathan Mingo has come on, so maybe a DFS dart throw if we can get the price point on that. Panthers defense is getting healthy. We talked a little bit about this earlier. They're past D especially, but they're on the rise. 82 is actually not as injured as they used to be. This used to be in the high 60s. So the Panthers D is getting healthy. We'll see how that impacts this week, but I am not sitting Chris Olave or Alvin Kamara in that matchup. The Vikings run D is a little banged up this week. That could help Josh Jacobs, ironically, but 83.8 isn't significant enough to really sit or start Jacobs. Bring your starts to questions anyway. Bills pass D 70 is 70.6 to 77, and Eagles run D is both getting healthy. So just keep an eye on these things heading through the rest of the season, folks. So that's all we got. We're wrapping it up here. Matt, TJ, Jeff, we're going to bring you guys back in just a moment, but let's just talk quickly about the quick weather report. Look how nice this looks. It looks so sad. But looks like so far from everything report, we're going to talk to TJ about some boots on the ground situation with the Jets game, but it sounds like the Jets and Ravens will be dealing with some inclement weather. That's all we got, folks. Let's bring the guys back in. Whew. All right, Matt, back over to you.
So I want to address something real quick, Bob. You made fun a while ago before the break that I had to feed my kids. I don't want to go on this show and appear to be a deadbeat dad. For the record, these are adult age kids.
Feed your children, Matt.
Yeah, but I mean, let's not try to infringe upon my checking account with kids that have legit sources of income. I'm going to buy their lunch. I love them. I bought their dinner last night. It's what I do. I filled up a gas tank. I went to Costco. One of the kids got a brand new cell phone for Christmas. So I'm just saying, I'm doing my part. It wouldn't hurt them to fucking sport me a bagel or a soda once in a while.
You don't
right?
get nutritional value from a cell phone, Matt. All right. So you can buy them all the material things they need. Anyway, let's get back to the show.
Nor do you get nutritional value from a bagel, and that's a scientific fact.
No one brought bagels.
I love
today.
bagels. I love bagels, but it's literally the worst food in the world for you. Look it up. All right. So
I bet you missed
now that I got
Jersey
that off my
bagels,
chest-
Bob.
Oh, dude, it's not even a thing out here. Bagels in California is a freaking nightmare.
Florida, Texas, same way. Bagels are not. It's all in the water. It's just like New York pizza. It's in the water. We'll talk about that later. But I've heard the best pizza in the world is New Haven, Connecticut, and not New York. But we can get to that later.
Oof.
Yeah. Pat Daddy, full PPR, Olave, Javante, Rashid. Jeff, over to you now that we're starting to lather back up.
I'm going to go Olave on this one. I like the matchup. I think he's the best play. But secondly, I would choose Rice behind him.
Olave's dealing with the flu. I would go Rashid Rice here.
Chris Olave for me.
So, Bob, you're not concerned with the flu? Is it a Michael Jordan flu game?
Let's go, baby. MJ, he's gonna make it happen. I think the Taysom Hill thing to me is gonna be more notable than we think. I think that's gonna really help open up the pass game a little bit, and I think Chris Olave is gonna get a little more. He's already getting now. No Shaheed, no Michael Thomas, no Taysom Hill. He's gonna get at least 8 targets in this game. So.
Oh, you're going to get double-digit targets. And remember, Juwan Johnson can't catch the football. Probably couldn't even catch the flu. So
so that's why he's on the field and healthy, because he didn't get it from Chris Olave. There you go.
Let me go with Olave too. I would prefer it be Rashid Rice because that's who I'm forced to start. Pat Daddy still chiming in. Gotta love the guy. He is here all day Sunday for us. I now have CMC and Justin Jefferson on a team because of a trade I made when Jefferson got hurt. Now we can lean back to Sky, and I think Derek even somewhat. They don't think Jefferson's going to be, not you, Jeff, Justin Jefferson. They don't think he's going to be the guy that most people think he's going to be. Sky mentioned a diversion, right? Just a in the way guy. But do we want to discuss this? We want to move on. Do we think Justin Jefferson's going to be a significant wide receiver 1 down the stretch?
He helps Hawkinson. I think he helps out Hawkinson, which is good. But he may not be a wide receiver 1, but he still will be a wide receiver 2 with boom potential.
And do we at all factor in the fact that Kirk Cousins makes him much better than Josh Dobbs does?
Yeah. I think he's not. Well, you got to understand the starting point for Justin Jefferson is wide receiver 1 overall. So, yeah, is he going to be wide receiver 1 overall? No, but I'm sure he'll still be a borderline wide receiver 1. I mean, but the thing is, wide receiver 1 overall is like 21, 22 PPR fantasy points. And then like a low end wide receiver 1 is like 16. So that makes sense to me. He's probably closer to like the CeeDee Lamb of the world from last year type numbers. So, and plus Addison's there, Hawkinson's there, and Dobbs runs. So you're probably losing a handful of pass attempts that you would have gotten with Kirk Cousins that Dobbs will now scramble and run a little bit. So, yeah, I think he's no longer the number 1, but I would still like him on my team.
There you have it. And we don't even need to discuss CMC. He's just
Stud.
ridiculous.
He's a sweet angel. I love him.
Ugh. Joel Soffit checks in. Shout out to Jeff for being on the podcast. So, Dance Dads, I'm going to say that Joel Soffit is probably the first indication that Jefferson has a burner account as well.
I like that. I like
do.
that for him. Question, Jeff. Are you the dancing, or do you have children who do dance and you both have kids that dance? Or are you guys dads who do the dancing? What's the actual hashtag mean?
As much as I want to say we dance as dads, we don't. We're terrible. Our daughters dance together, so they're on a competitive dance team. So, and he's a diehard Philly fan. So, shout out to him for checking in today.
Nice.
There we go. And so maybe it's not a
Learned
burner.
something new.
Bob.
Maybe not. I like it. That's a good alibi. Whatever he just said, maybe believe it. So I like it.
Which means he came with a story. That's the way I like it, right? Have your story already set.
Makes sense.
AJ, welcome back. Morning, gents. Deciding on a DST this week. Our DST guy, Sky, is not here. Rolling with either the Vikings at the Raiders or the Dolphins home versus Tennessee. Which would you say has a higher floor? Defense and DST, it's tough to say the floor, right? The answer is Dallas every week has probably the highest floor of any team, but the Browns can score a touchdown here or there. The Ravens can score it. I mean, all of these defenses can score a touchdown on a scoop and score, a sack and strip, all of that. But what do we think for highest floor and better of the two plays for you guys, Jeff?
I think it's Miami. Over the last 4 weeks, they're defense number 3. So, and Tennessee struggles on the road. So, give me Miami on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Dolphins as well. Primetime games seem to be the under this year, so give me the Dolphins.
Believe it or not, the higher floor is probably the Vikings. Only reason why I say that is I'm not scared about Aiden O'Connell. And I think the Vikings defense has been pretty solid. The issue I see for the Dolphins is that they could probably score 60, and then the Titans will have a bunch of garbage time and score 24 points. And then I'm starting Miami. It's Miami for me. But if you're going to talk floor, I think the safer play is probably the Vikings. But I'm definitely not sitting the Dolphins this week.
Yeah, I agree. The higher floor is probably Minnesota, but I'm starting Miami as well. And I think we had an Andrew Van Ginkel sighting last week with a pick 6. Is that right? By the way, I heard somebody say it. There's a guy that looks like Van Ginkel on every NFL defense. Like the NFL is just making a player that looks just like Van Ginkel, right? In the helmet,
Van
there's
Ginkel?
The guy that looks like Anzalone. Hey, Anzalone.
Watch it.
From Detroit, right? There's a guy on every NFL team that looks like that dude in a helmet.
I don't know. All right. That's fine. Let's just
Bob, while you're not busy, Google Andrew Van Ginkel or Anzalone. You'll know boys, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Chase Winovich, I think he retired, but he
Winovich just won. Pat Tillman was one before it was even cool. Nobody? Bob? Right. Nothing? Cool.
No,
hey, thanks for tuning in on the YouTube channel, everybody, to Bob, who doesn't watch football.
I don't.
Bill Dino is reporting that Trevor Lawrence is starting. Jeff, can you confirm, and what do you think about that with his ankle?
I can confirm. It's a weird 6 days from a high ankle sprain, and he's back already. I don't. I'm glad he's back. The dude never misses games, so that he's a trooper from that standpoint. But I do think Etienne's back too. He's healthy, so I think the Jags are going to run more in this one. But I think he helps the Jags offense, but I wouldn't start him today though.
And that's a high ankle sprain directly to being helped into the locker room. No blue tent, no nothing.
Yeah.
Straight throws his helmet. Yep. Throws his helmet. He knows it's bad, and immediately into the locker room, not to return. So yeah, I think if you have a streaming option like a Minshew, then I might lean somebody like that, or Stafford, even though the weather's terrible. I think it's probably more running, especially with Christian Kirk being out. Or it's an Evan Ingram game, right? Real close to the line, 5 to 10 yards. Let's go, Razzball. Evan Ingram.
Let's do it. Just to quickly bring this up too is the Cleveland defense. like I understand Denzel Ward's out, but like Myles Garrett, and they're down to their third string left tackle is going to be, and if he's the weird thing is like we can't predict how mobile he's been. Apparently, I was watching ESPN and he had an injury to his foot a couple years ago, and he was just as mobile. So I don't know. Maybe he's just Wolverining the shit out of this, and he's going to be fine. But it's still the Browns at home. Cleveland will be playing at home, so I think.
Are we clear weather in Cleveland? Like no
It's
yes
clear.
whatsoever, so it's not going to be a slippery field. Yeah,
No.
You're not getting away from Myles Garrett with a full healthy lower body. You're not going to. You're not going to outrun him. No Christian Kirk. ETN, I think it's this late in the season. He's dinged somewhere, right? He's not 100%. And I think the Christian Kirk injury is going to be much bigger than Zay Jones is a way better receiver with Christian Kirk in the lineup. But so we'll see. I don't know that he's a true wide receiver too. So with that, would you start Cleveland's D with confidence today, since we've had some DST stuff roll in?
Ooh, with confidence. I think it depends on what the options are, but yes, I'm willing to start them if I would rather start the Texans versus the Jets. I'd rather start.
How about Atlanta?
No,
Atlanta or Cleveland?
Cleveland still for me. Atlanta's extremely banged up. I think the Bucks will be fine.
Detroit or Cleveland?
I would go Cleveland.
Baltimore or Cleveland?
Probably Baltimore.
Because of the weather?
Weather impact. The defense is good. Weather will impact that game. I would even say like Minnesota I would consider over the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, for reference, I own Trevor Lawrence, and I'm playing Josh Dobbs over him this week. So
nice.
Hey, me too. Me too.
Look at that. You guys just become best friends? Nice.
think so.
I love this for us. All right.
Need
All
that
right,
first
let's
round
move
bye.
on.
Yeah. We're gonna move on. There's too
Moving
much.
on.
They're broing too much, and I don't like.
Guys, calm down. All right, relax. We get it. You're friends now. Jesus.
The Christmas card sharing addresses for their Candy Cane Lane is about to happen with these two. I'm over it. By the way, not only did Jeff create a burner, but now he's got a question on one of his lineups. Well, two questions. My goodness, what kind of problem does Joel Soffit have?
Yeah.
Hurts or Dak, AJ or CD? And I'm going to put a third part to this for our DFS guy when it gets down to him. Do you force stack with these four players? Like, if you're going to go with one, do you have to go with his teammate? Jeff,
they're
what do you think?
out of the main slate, so you'd likely be stacking them anyway.
Yes, if you play both slates. Good point.
Damn. That's interesting. This is a tough one. I mean, they're all great players. I don't think there's a wrong answer, but I go Hurts and AJ.
I'm very curious of who his other receivers are that he has to pick between CD and AJ, and why they're both not going to be in this lineup. But
well, he's right next to you. Just look up. Ask him.
Yeah, Jeff. What is this?
I'm going to go with the home team, the hotter team. Give me the Dallas stack. Give me Dak and CD.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with the home team.
Yeah, Jeff, you know this because you're the same way. We absolutely hate Cowboys, and we hate the Cowboys fans living in San Antonio area. But I'm going with the same. I'm going to go Dak and CD in this hotter team. They appear to like to throw. Where Bob, you mentioned it last week. Philly will grind it out. They will run the football and just pound you into submission. They don't need to throw to win. I think they're going to in this game. But I like the team that's rolling in the right direction right now. And I don't like the added stress Philly has after getting absolutely just punched in the mouth last week. They didn't have any answer for that after the first two drives for San Francisco. So I think they're probably stressed out. All right, Bob, loosen up, right? Loosen up with me. Ready?
Okay, ready.
Bob.
Who loosens up like that?
I
would say stretch, maybe like a stretch, like a nice little arm cross
right?
stretch.
It starts that way.
I don't get loose like this.
Look at you though. You feel better.
I do actually feel a little better after I did that, which is
and here it is.
Worth about it.
This is why you're getting loose.
Love it. Listen, if you don't think kickers matter and you're in a league that starts kickers, you're out of your damn mind, folks. Yeah, so basically, unfortunately, I got bad news. All of my top kickers in my analysis are dealing with the inclement weather. Houston Texans, Matt Amendola is my top kicker this week, but I am not playing him in that Jets game. Then it's here's some guys that I like if they're available. Jake Moody, San Francisco kicker. Evan McPherson, Cincinnati versus the Colts. Jason Sanders, Miami kicker, gets Tennessee. And if you're looking for my top streamer this week, it's Matt Gay going up against Cincinnati. So those would be the kickers I'd be looking out for. And those guys are all at the top. So I know the next question comes in. It's Hopkins versus Jacksonville, Koo in the Dome versus Tampa Bay. Out of this list, I'm going to actually go Hopkins at Jacksonville.
Yeah, and for me, I'm going Koo. So woke up this morning, I had picked up Fairbairn because he was slated to be back, right? And Bob, you said he was going to be one of your favorite picks of the week if he was back. He's not.
On IR.
Somehow I fell into Koo and Brandon Aubrey. So guy dropped Brandon Aubrey. I will happily take that in at home inside against Philly. So I like Koo today. I don't know that Atlanta can always score all the time whenever they want, and that's the Arthur Smith factor. So I like Koo, who I believe is also kicking at over 90% pace right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Aubrey is just almost, I mean, I don't want to knock on wood, but he's automatic. So normally one of our first callers or posters is Daniel. So Daniel, welcome back in. Is it worth him picking up McKinnon or picking Yo McKinnon? So you decide how you want it. Here, I'll read it both ways. Hey, is it worth picking up Yo McKinnon or is it worth picking up McKinnon? Keyboard will show you that Yo is an autocorrect of some sort. Jeff, you think there's enough volume for McKinnon?
Yeah, he's going to catch a lot. So I prefer him over CEH. I think you have to pick him up because who knows how long Pacheco is going to be out. And the Chiefs have to win games right now. So I think you got to start him.
Isn't this about the time last year when McKinnon just went bananas?
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you have the option on the waiver wire, you put Pacheco on IR, you're taking McKinnon over CEH.
Yep.
TJ, what do you think?
I mean, I personally did pick up McKinnon over CEH on Friday when I saw that Pacheco was out. I grabbed McKinnon over CEH. McKinnon RB1 season did start week 14 last year, so fingers crossed.
All right, Bob, you know what that means, right?
What?
The cell phone's out. You love when this happens.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, it's McKinnon just because of the fact that like they moved Pacheco more into not every down role, but he was more featured. I don't see them doing that with CEH. He doesn't have the same juice that Pacheco does, and I think McKinnon will be more involved. Also, you got to keep in mind the Chiefs are kind of like on autopilot through November, and now they're kind of like, all right, we got to make a playoff push, and we got to make sure we get the top seed we can get. And I think they'll start featuring McKinnon. McKinnon's 31. So it's not like he's a young guy. So I think they were saving him a little bit. So I'm going to just go on a hunch and say McKinnon as well.
So I pulled.
But over who? Who are you dropping, though, Daniel? You got to let us know who you're dropping for McKinnon. I think that'd be important, too.
It's probably Pacheco to IR. That's my guess, but I don't know that for sure. I just pulled the ultimate fantasy waiver dick move. I added CEH to drop him to pick up McKinnon. 0-13, dude, has Pacheco. So super dick move. But I'm not going to be the guy that puts him at 1-13. Just not going to happen.
Nice. Love that.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm a dick. So what are we going to do? I mean, it's on brand.
You know what? Acknowledging it first is the key, right?
Yep.
Hey,
on brand.
We can't hate you for acknowledging it. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to buy my kids lunch. I mean, let's pile on. Yeah.
Lunch, you don't even feed your children. So that's a whole different vibe there.
Yeah, well, they're out and about right now. Hopefully they're grabbing a little snack. So lunch is cheaper for me. And that's the way I look at it. Micah back in half-point PPR, need one at flex. God, we've had a lot of Ford, haven't we, today? Ford, Garrett Wilson, Singletary, Tyler Lockett, Ty J. Spears. Jeff, what do you think half-point PPR flex player?
I'm going to go Ford on this one.
I would say Singletary, but Dameon Pierce is back in the mix. The weather I did go outside during the break, and it is raining here, so I can confirm that it has started raining.
Boots on the ground. I'm proud of you.
Amazing. Trying to get promoted on day one. I love it.
Love
promote ahead. The military always said promote with peers or promote ahead of Pierce. I think we know where TJ sits right now.
Love every second of that.
Yeah, give me Ford also.
Yeah, I actually think it's Ford as well. The right answer is probably garbage time Tajay Spears. So, he'll get like 10 catches because they'll be down 30 points in that game. But no, I'm going to take the Jerome Ford touches. Joe Flacco is just going to be just leading the charge. I'm super excited.
And we're sure Derrick Henry's a full go, right? All the way back?
Yeah, he's all the way back, but I don't even know what his 6 score is. I could look it up. Let's see.
So that would,
Go ahead.
I love Tajay Spears, but for me, it's Ford as well. So I'm not going to have Bob play music while he's looking something else up on the 6 score. So Bodybuilding Weekly, anybody want to show him off? TJ, show him off.
Not like that.
Yeah. We don't have to have him. You just show Bob. Yep.
Come on.
There it is.
There you go.
There you go. Look at that. Oh my God. This is the best day ever. Let's keep it going.
If Geno sits, do I elevate the Niners defense and bench Miami?
Oof.
So that would be Drew Lock's season in Seattle?
Drew Lock's got at least one interception. I'm probably playing the 49ers anyway. I think the 49ers are just going to punch him right in the mouth.
So you don't think it's going to be let down Niners? They're a little bit soft coming off.
They already let down, man. They already lost 3 straight games. The 49ers already messed up. They already had their 3-game skid. It's go time. And they're at home. If it was in Seattle, I'd be a little more hesitant, but it's at home. No, 49ers are going to just eat them alive.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm probably starting the Niners D over Miami, regardless if Geno plays or sits. He's immobile-ish, right? He's got a little scramble in him, but he's not the same mobile guy he used to be. Jeff, who are you starting?
I'm going to go with Miami. I think the Niners may be the second best defense behind Dallas, but I don't trust Tennessee.
I'm going Niners. If Geno's out, Niners are first overall defense for me.
Even if they don't have Van Ginkel? Bob, have you found out who Van Ginkel is yet? He's not a Christmas character. I promise you that.
That's cool, man. I'll figure it out later. Let's keep moving along.
See, this is the point of the show where Bob's getting tired, right? I got to keep him moving, and he gets frustrated when we ask him something he doesn't know about pop culture, and it's NFL pop culture. So I feel bad for you, Bob. It's okay. When you see Van Ginkel, you're going to do this. Yep, I knew who that guy was. I just didn't know his name. That's your reaction. Yep, I knew that guy. I just didn't know his name. Remember you asked me to host? That was fun.
This is my nightmare. Let's see.
So Bill Dino is going back to his question. He had a flex. He's not a big fan of starting DK in the flex. Let me scroll up and find.
He had all the good running backs.
Yeah, I think that we would still lean towards running backs. I'm scrolling. Are we going to start DK Metcalf over this group? I'm not.
No, not against the 49ers.
No, thank you.
TJ, you're still good with the running backs?
Yeah, still sticking to the running backs.
Okay. All right, Bill. So we've hit that. Back to the Bodybuilding Weekly. Flex, we'll assume half PPR. Elijah Moore or Noah Brown today, or wait.
You get it, though? Bodybuilding Weekly, and he has a flex question. Huh? Right? Come
back.
on, guys.
I love it when you're back, Bob.
My life's a roller coaster, baby.
Yeah.
I love it.
Just when we're out, he drags us right back in. That's a line from The Godfather. You feel free to use that whenever you'd like. Elijah Moore, Noah Brown today, or does he wait to choose either Aaron Jones or AJ Dillon on Monday? I'm Packers guy, right? I'm not playing Dillon. Jones is questionable. If you can flex somebody on the Monday night, maybe, but I don't trust Matt LaFleur, and I don't like the soft tissue with Aaron Jones. So I'm probably not relying on either one of my Packers guys. I don't love what Noah Brown's going to have to deal with today either. So I'm probably leaning Elijah Moore, even though I answered this out of order only because there's Packers guys in it. Jeff, over to you.
I'm going to go with one of the Packers running backs. Watson's out, so they may have to rely on running the ball a little bit. So I'd wait and see. I know y'all love Joe Flacco, but I'm not I don't like Moore, and Brown. I'm not liking that matchup either.
So that's 2 now, Jeff. That's
Mhm.
2. That's 1 complete dismissal of Flacco, and then 1 salty. I don't like Flacco. So Bob,
Mhm.
if you could, 1 moxie for him and 2 Flacco
See
groans.
see, this is so we warned him. We gave him a warning because
Yep,
we're nice people.
verbal.
We wanted to give Jeff a and now, Jeff, I'm not gonna say anything, but let's just say on the back end, things might be changing for you. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I
That's
mean? You just
unfortunate.
don't with the Flacco slander. All
Yeah,
right,
I mean you've had the verbal warning. Written is next. Nobody likes to see that. Nobody
and
likes
I'm
to see it.
HR, and I'm also the
Yeah.
person that's gonna complain. So I'm gonna write to
Yeah.
myself. I'm excited.
Absolutely, you are the guy that's going to complain.
TJ, over to you.
I mean, Joe Flacco is starting. Elijah Moore's best games come with Joe Flacco. He had 250 air yards last week, 12 targets. Give me Elijah Moore.
Love it. Love it. I want to say, and the other thing too is we just broke down 2 of the 3 top cornerbacks, including slot corner Trey Herndon, is out this week for the Jags. So Jags secondary is extremely banged up. Joe Flacco is out there making it rain, bringing the Browns to the Super Bowl. Give me Elijah Moore. Let's freaking go. Even though Aaron Jones, which should be the right freaking answer here, it should be Aaron Jones. It should be Aaron Jones. It should be. The Giants are going to come out though and just dominate because they don't want to win the first pick, and they don't want anything to do with any happiness in the future. But it's Elijah Moore for me. It's fine.
Yeah. And by the way, who doesn't Joe Flacco make better? That's rhetorical. There is no answer for that.
Joke's on you.
It's almost like pie, right? Pie just keeps going and going and going. Not the dessert, the number.
Actually,
Joe Flacco is like the pie of football. He just keeps going. So we're going to go on to the next question. Cool. Nobody understands relative value in my league. Oh, this goes back to the trade issue, right? That we talked about.
Yeah, the Laporta Kelsey thing.
Yeah,
dude, I hear you, man. It's not like I was texting one of my buddies. I was literally asking him, like, just please give me a bad offer. Give me something. Like, I would love a bad offer. At least we got some dialogue going. I get it, man. It's so frustrating. The worst part is like the next week you get instant gratification when you see, like, legitimately see them get shit from their tight end position. You're like, dude, like, what are you thinking? Like, I think a lot of people don't want to get burnt by trades, which is why you should always lead with a positive interaction and make sure you're trying to make the other team better. But sometimes you have to lose the trade to win the trade. So you might have taken a worse player, but because you had Kelsey and Laporta, you might have given them the best of the trade, but you win out because you got the running back receiver that you need, and you already have the tight end locked up. So I know it's tough. I get it, man. GR, I don't know what it stands for, but great rapport is what it should stand for, and then you'd be good to go.
Yeah,
He's actually an Eagles fan.
Oh,
you're trolling him. You're stalking him.
So so it wasn't even Travis Kelsey. It was
Jason.
the other Kelsey, and so Jason. So it was a center. Start your center.
So Jason Kelsey does not look like Andrew Van Ginkel, Bob. Just so you know.
We already did.
All right. So this is Mateo's question. We asked.
Already did it.
God, what does your lineup look like? Look at this.
Oh,
look at those four running backs.
Well, let me ask you this question: would you guys start Pollard, Mixon, or Rachaad White? Would you sit Pollard for Mixon and Rachaad White?
I'm probably starting. I'm starting Bijan no matter what, and I'm probably starting Rachaad White.
Yeah.
Still.
I'm sitting Pollard of those 4.
Yeah. I think Dallas is gonna. I think Dallas is throwing the football.
I actually agree. I would probably sit Pollard of the 4.
Yep. Well, and who's the best run? The best run defense, kind of, is Philly, right? It's not every week, but boy, when they turn it on, they're legitimate up front. Yeah,
it's one of those things where, like, I mean, Pollard's numbers, the last time they played, Pollard, what was his numbers against them? It wasn't, he was like the only person not invited to the party or something. It was bad. It was like Philly, 12 carries, 51 yards.
Yeah, but he was pretty awful, period. All right, boys, we got about 2 minutes. So we're gonna bang through the rest of these. That's how TJ found out that he was an Eagles fan, not that he was stalking him. TJ, apologies from me to you. Bad on me. Okay, we've already talked about that. Real quick around half PPR, need to pick 2, 1 for flex, 1 for receiver. So a wide receiver and a flex. Nico, Jamar, Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, Jeff.
I'm gonna go Chase and Aaron Jones is questionable, so that's hard. So you got to go Walker. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, Walker and Chase.
I'll go Chase and Collins. I don't know what Walker's going to be coming back from injury with Charbonnet.
I'm gonna go. I'm screw. I'm going wild here, folks. Cosmo, I'm going to assume you just have an option. By the way, there's four teams on Monday night. I'm going to go Jamar Chase, Aaron Jones.
I'm going Jamar Chase, Nico Collins. I'm not waiting for Aaron Jones to be my savior any longer this year. James Obando, welcome to the show. Jarek or Elijah Moore at flex? Assume half PPR.
I'm gonna go McKinnon, but I know what y'all are gonna say.
I'm actually the worst person to ask this question because I am currently struggling with this decision myself right now. I'm looking at a lineup where I have to pick.
So you can say I'm not answering.
I can't answer this one because I want to hear your answers because I have to pick this one for myself.
So
Wow, this is actually now we know.
I'm going two McKinnons.
I'm going to go Elijah Moore.
Yeah, good luck with that, TJ.
That wasn't helpful at all for either of us.
Actually, I went McKinnon to make Jeff feel better. The answer is Elijah Moore. Good luck with that. Now that I've fucked it up both ways. Sit 2, full PPR. Puka, Flowers, Ridley, Jaden Reed, Chuba, CEH. Sit 2.
Oof.
God
Do you think
almighty.
this is Sivan? What'd you say?
7 leg.
So you 7 leg, got it.
2 minutes.
Shit.
So Puka and Flowers are both in the weather. CEH, we've already agreed we think McKinnon's the better play. So it's probably between those 3 guys. The better receiver, I think, on the front end is Puka.
Yeah.
So I'm probably sitting Flowers over Puka. Trevor Lawrence back. I like Ridley. I like Reed on Monday night. I'm probably sitting Flowers and CEH.
I agree.
I'm good with that.
Same.
Boom. Uh-oh, look who just chimed in. Razzball to wrap the show up, Bob. Razzball, not all heroes wear capes. Somebody could probably borrow one from Gray. I only read it because it was a question on the post. I'm not signing off on it. I don't need to get fired by Gray. By the way, Gray probably doesn't watch this show too often because he's a baseball guy. He's still crazy over the Ohtani 10 for $700 million. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me, but that's for a different show, a different sport. Bob, take us out of here. Jeff, TJ, thank you for filling in. Thank you for coming in. You guys were prepped. You guys were fun. Well, at least Jefferson was, right? TJ was more business than he was fun.
Well,
kind of like a mullet, right?
I could give you a fun tidbit here. If you have time, just ask Bob about Danny Woodhead. Just make sure you have about a couple hours to vote into this answer.
You know what, TJ? Just go fuck yourself. All right? How about that? Okay? That's how we're going to end the show, everybody. You know what? I'm out of here. You want to hear a story about Danny Woodhead? You know what, TJ? You're fired. Everyone's fired. Jeff, you're fired by association because you're best friends. And Matt, you're fired because I'm tired of all your shit today. All right, guys. Thank you for joining the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast where you get all the great information you need to win your fantasy leagues. We're out of here. Go enjoy the games, everybody. Goodbye.